Welcome back to the Los Alamitos Unified School District Board of Education meeting. And then we went into closed session and we had discussion about labor negotiations and about student discipline, and no action was taken. We will now begin our meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. And so I will ask Mrs. Clark if she would lead us in the pledge.
One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Excellent job. Thank you so much. And then I will turn it over to Mrs. Reed to give us an executive summary of our workshop.
Thank you so much, President Hill. Well, this evening was another celebration. I just love that we've moved our schools to the early workshop time, and we were honored to welcome Los Alamitos Elementary. We had a packed house with families and students. Principal Williams did a great job really sharing the successes and really what it means to be an LAE Tiger. LAE, a great place to be. The choir sang a beautiful rendition, but a great patriotic song that started us off. And then we really closed Mr. Williams' time at the microphone with a wonderful tribute to their hero of the heart, Mrs. Autumn Bignami, who's really made an impact at Los Alamitos Elementary. So just a wonderful night to have the room really filled with an amazing community, and a big shout out to Mr. Williams and Mrs. Williams for leading their school to $72,000 through their fit-a-thon just recently. So it's a big win for their school community.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Reed. And then we will move into my president's report, and it will be short this evening. Oh, thank you very much. So we just, I guess I'll move back one. I really wanted to highlight Veterans Day and really highlight what we, each school has an individual way of really honoring our vets. And I have no shame in saying I'm 61. I was born in 61 and really raised in the middle of some really ugly times during the Vietnam War. And I remember how we treated a lot of our veterans during that period of time. And one of the things that I've really appreciated this country coming around to is that we really do honor the men and women that serve us and that give up so much of their own life for us to be able to have the wonderful freedoms that we have. And so I think it's a great opportunity and a wonderful message that we also show our young people what it means to serve, and what it means to serve not only in a community sense, but in a sense of really putting your life on the line. And so our Veterans Day celebrations were at many different schools, and they really come to the place where they're honoring the brave men and women who have defended and served this country. Whether you were retired or active duty, we had them part of our tribute, and really was so heartwarming. We'll get to a picture in a few minutes of students who got up and actually spoke about family members of theirs that were veterans. And so it was a great day on our campuses, a beautiful red, white, and blue, and I had the honor of being over at Oak with Mr. Forehand, and this young lady spoke. That's her papa, and she spoke about him and what he had done, and you could just tell by the conversation or by her presentation that she sat down and she took really copious notes of what he did, because I'm sure that half the words she said she didn't have any idea what they meant, but you know what he had done, and she really listened and she really cared. And I think it was a great representation of how we feel about what vets have done for us. And so we also our choir sang patriotic songs, and we had the color guard come as well. And I think that's a great tradition for our students to be able to see and just really honored in multiple different ways. The way that each one of our schools is really unique in the way that they actually honor our veterans. And I'm very appreciative to all of our principals for really working hard to make that something special, not only for the veterans and the family members, but also for the students that really help them connect. So I'd like to say thank you to all of our vets for what you've done in this country. And I'm very proud of our schools and their representation of that as well. I told you it'd be short tonight. There you go. Thank you. Now we're going to have the report we all wait for, which is our student board member report. Alexa.
Good evening, President Hill, esteemed board members, Dr. Pulver, and any community members watching in person or online. My name is Alexa Dharmapalan, and I'm your student representative to the Board of Education from Los Alamitos High School, and this is my 5th board report. Tonight in academics, we're talking and looking towards our Griffin's bold futures, college applications. We talk a lot about college, but now the grueling process of applications and FAFSA are coming to a close. The looming deadlines for our UC applications are on November 30th. The counselors have been helping students wrap up their essays and make sure they get their teacher recommendations and everything necessary to make application season successful. By the very next board meeting, all UC applications will have been submitted for our Los Al seniors. Additionally, on November 16th, Week 12 progress reports will be available to parents and students. It's crazy to think that after that, we only have 6 more weeks until our very first semester of this school year is complete. We had a wonderful long weekend this last weekend. I'm sure all of us enjoyed it, but we shouldn't forget the real reason we celebrate: our veterans' incredible service to the United States military. We placed countless flags all over our campus, as well as a large flag that you can see in the picture in the very front of our school. This flag is visible from Cerritos Avenue on school grounds to honor the veterans who served our country, and the real reason why we get an incredible day off to honor those who served. Coming up, we have a semester favorite, our ping pong tournament. Griffins pay an entry fee to participate in the tournament, and during lunch, they battle in a March Madness-esque style tournament. This is a student favorite and a great way to build camaraderie in our Griffin student population. This week, we're also having a spirit week to get excited for our upcoming Thanksgiving break. And this Friday, we will have a pie eating competition at lunch. And this whole week, we're having dress out days. As we transition into our winter sports, many sports have wrapped up their fall season. Our girls tennis team just wrapped up their final CIF match where they played Beverly Hills over the weekend. Girls golf played a match on Halloween and they completed their season 3 days later. Our Griffins ice hockey team has been killing every single one of their games. Last weekend, varsity ice hockey took to the rink to play Servite. The score was 5-2, our Griffins for the win. Additionally, on Veterans Day, our varsity football team played a game at Veterans Stadium. This was the first round of CIF where Griffins took the win. We are now off to semifinals where we play against Mater Dei this Friday. In the arts, our Los Al dance program completed their first show of the year, Street Symphony, a rock and roll fairy tale. Sophia Papageorges and Benny Naughtonson killed it as the leads, and the program had a 4-day run of the show, November 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. The show was fast-paced and incredibly captivating. The set design was spectacular as always, and personally, I love how the dance program takes risks and pushes boundaries, because that's what art is all about. As we approach the holiday season, Los Alamitos Show Choir has been preparing for their holiday show, Winter Wonderland, on Thursday, December 8th, Friday, December 9th, and Saturday, December 10th. There will be lots of holiday cheer present in the Los Alamitos High School Performing Arts Center. There will be some traditional yearly numbers that are family favorites and some brand new takes on holiday songs, as well as some stunning solos. You can buy tickets on the choir website at losalamidoschoir.com. Our student spotlight tonight is a senior named Macy Bukta. She is involved in French Honor Society, French Club, varsity tennis, the American Red Cross Club, Link Crew, Guam, Key Club, and 101 Peer Club. She spends her time helping out at the Rossmore Library outside of school, typically shelving books, speaking for teens, setting up activities, making take-home crafts for all ages, and helping with recommendations. With any other free time, she works on her language program, Salut to You, that will hopefully be implemented into schools across the United States in a few years as one of her big dreams. She also tutors in other languages such as French, Japanese, and Dutch. Macy is a well-rounded student athlete who will most definitely go far because of the incredible way she applies herself in and outside of the classroom. And with that, I thank you for joining me tonight for my 5th board report.
Thank you. I have a couple of questions.
Always.
Always. So one, I do want to say that you're the young woman that you spotlighted. Thank you. Her name again?
Macy Buckda.
Macy. So Macy, there's statistics that say.
Yeah.
So Macy, there's statistics that say that if you're involved in 1.5 things, that's the highest level of engagement, and that students are real successful at that level. But she seems to really have passed that bar.
Oh, yes, and then some.
That's fascinating for me. And then I believe I saw on your presentation where it says that Friday was wear fall colors. Is that to the game, or is that just to school?
To school.
Okay.
To school. The game is a blackout game, so we're all dressing in black.
Thank you. That was the information I was looking for. That's awesome. Thank you very much.
Of course.
Any other questions from the board? Great. Thank you. And we will now have our superintendent's report.
Thank you, Madam President, esteemed members of the board. It's always a pleasure to follow our student report and to just continue to be reminded of, no wonder we're the #1 district in Orange County. When you take a look at the students and the families that they come from, it's just amazing. And I thought about that earlier today when we had our LAE students who were speaking, and then again to see our spotlight. I don't even know how many activities that was. I started counting like 7, and then if you start counting all the tutoring that she's doing as well. So just a strong tribute to the amazing kids that we have, and really the adults that make it possible to support them as well. Mrs. Hill, when you talked about the veteran ceremony, I had the pleasure, myself and Mr. Fayette, of going to the Rossmore Veteran Service on Friday. And as you know, we have our interim principal, Ms. Valerie Miller, who just did a fantastic job leading the Rossmore Veterans Assembly. What was really special for me was to see so many of our families and young families who served in the military, as well as honoring the kids got to recommend who they were honoring. So it could be a grandparent, a cousin, an aunt, an uncle, and some who have passed away, but most who were there. But it really neat, every veteran, they gave a rose. And then the student recognizing, as we know, military service takes a toll on the families as well, and that it's really a sacrifice and a gift that they're giving to all of us as children and as spouses. And so they gave all of them little United States flags, kind of connecting the theme of both the veteran and the family member that was being honored. So it was kind of recognizing both parts of the family, and that I really appreciated. And then last night, before we get into my report, both Ms. Catulli and Mr. Fayette joined me, and it'd just be remiss if I didn't acknowledge the exceptional service of Police Chief Gonchak, who's the Seal Beach Chief of Police, who is just retired. It sounds weird to say retired, but he's really moving out of state to Colorado for his family and for a few other different career opportunities. But he's just been an amazing partner with our schools. The city of Seal Beach always are very strong partners with us and with us every step of the way. But the chief has been paramount on safety, on providing traffic support, being with our 5th graders at promotion ceremonies, giving them the challenge coins. And so just, I think they've probably landed by now in Colorado. I heard they were leaving today. And so I just want to thank him again, and ongoingly thank our partnership with Seal Beach. Tonight, what I really want to take a look at highlighting is one of the things that we talk about is we know that as a school district, this is not our end game, and that our opportunity here, our job, our mission is to prepare kids for their their future dreams and what life is outside of 12th grade. And so it's obviously college for many. 92% of our students enroll in some form of post-secondary education. But it's also about trying to make sure that our students find a career path as well that can really help them fulfill the dreams that they have. And so I'm really proud that over the last few years, we've really been focusing more and more as well on career technical education as well, and career technical pathways for students and our partnerships there. And this, when we come back from Thanksgiving break, excuse me, on Wednesday, November 30th, our high school is hosting, it's the second time we've done it, the Skills Fairs Trade, and it's right during lunchtime. It's going to be inside of our new College and Career Center. It's an excellent opportunity for our students to learn about apprenticeships, college career certificate programs, and a variety of skilled trades. And many of these skilled trades, actually all of them, our students can earn a lucrative income and live independently and really fulfill their passions and their dreams as well. And so they'll be able to learn about options available after high school to join the skills workforce, if that skills trades workforce. And really it's open to all of our students, but we're highly encouraging our juniors and seniors. And no sign up, just show up at lunch. And so here's just a few of the trades that'll be there. They'll have professionals of each of these industries, but electrical, medical assistants, automotive technology, cosmetology, sheet metal, law enforcement, fire EMT, carpentry, plumbing, dental assisting, and a myriad of more. And so our students, if this is a career path that they're interested in to learn more, they'll be able to meet different apprentices and individuals who are in the field to help guide them along the way and maybe light a career path for them as well. So I look forward to acknowledging that and just telling our community, save the date if you're not aware for our Griffins. And then the other thing that has been a primary focus and certainly part of our goal 2 and goal 3, we're really about goal 2, about creating a thriving culture and providing various mental health supports and opportunities to our students, but really also to our families. And so I'm proud that our mental health warriors, our mental health counselors, sometimes we call them our mental health warriors, are offering a myriad of different professional parent education nights for our families. And so I'm going to just highlight a few. Tomorrow night, our Emily Letterman, who's our wellness counselor at Los Alamitos High School, is hosting social media and the effects on teenagers. That will be in the College and Career Center on the STEM building at Los Alamitos High School. It is in person. If this is something, this is open to all students, grades 6 through 12. You don't have to have a high school student. This is really something we're opening up to all of our secondary students. When we come back from winter break on, I think where's the date there? It is that November 30th in the evening at our elementary school site. Stacy Eatman, one of our wellness counselors at the elementary school, is offering a parent education workshop, which is really just partnering with your school to support student wellness. So as a parent, if you're an elementary parent, if you want to know what can you do as parents to partner with us as a school and how to support the whole child and your students at home, Stacy's going to go ahead and give a workshop that's open up to parents. And this is really designed for our elementary families. And the next night on Thursday, December 1st, our middle school counselor, Dr. Kirsten Jensen, is going to be doing something very similar, but really targeting our middle school or secondary students in that sense as well. So I just wanted to make sure I let our parent community know we're very proud. I think I've really impressed with our team who continues to provide more and more opportunities to engage our parents and help them along the way in a variety of different ways. Because we know the value, what makes this district so incredible is the strong partnerships. The bedrock of us is really the partnerships that we have with our families. And so we want to continue to be able to partner with them and offer them opportunities to support them outside of the school as well. And with that, I would certainly want to just recognize that we have a wonderful holiday coming up next week, which allows us to all just kind of pause and regardless of faith, to just stop and have a season of gratitude and to express the thanks for the numerous blessings that have been bestowed upon probably all of us, and to just really kind of focus on all of that. So I wish all of our community, our families, our staff, a wonderful and happy, gracious Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Dr. Pulver. And I would like to add just really quickly, and I checked with Dr. Friedman on the way in, there was a wonderful cyberbullying workshop that was done, and it is a video that is available on our website. And it was really powerful for me to listen to that and to listen to these students talk about how they're bullied and what they're bullied about. And made me a little sad, but it's just good for awareness. And so I think we try to make as many of those things available as possible to our community as well. So, oh, absolutely.
I also think it's important with the parent nights because over the years we've had parent nights and not always had great turnouts. The Zoom meetings built the population of people who were able to watch. But what I think when I talk with parents, it's really hard to admit that a certain kind of problem or issue could exist in our own families, whether we feel it's a reflection on ourselves or out of fear. We don't want to acknowledge it by being present because that's kind of bringing a truth to the surface. But it may not be in your family. If we educate ourselves, we can be there for our friends when we start to identify issues their children are having. So it's really important that we get out to these parent nights and learn the tools so that because it isn't necessarily going to help you or me, it might, but we may be able to help somebody else. And you build the population, more and more people will come and we'll be able to help more children. So I'm so thankful for these parent nights and the education that's being provided and the opportunities for our students too. So thank you.
A big thank you to our wellness counselors and to obviously our Director of Special Education and Mental Health and Mrs. Grace Delk and her partner in crime, Kaylee Peacock, for making this really something that we're looking to provide more opportunities to support our families.
Thank you very much. Now we will go into board communication, and I'll start with Mr. Fayette.
Thank you, Madam President. Just want to touch on that the Rossmore Veterans Day celebration that I attended with Dr. Pulver was fantastic. Val did an incredible job. They had over 45 veterans recognized. Wonderful, wonderful ceremony. So grateful for all their service. I'm going to put on my LAE hat. So I have been LAE-centric the last few days. So on Monday, I got to go to LAE and serve as a replacement for Mr. Forehand at doing lunch duty as part of his Nuts and Bolts tour. I'm very grateful for him giving me that opportunity. The service wasn't as good as when you were there, but we managed to survive. The cafeteria is great. Sorry, Guy, you're not going to get the lovely letters that Chris writes you. And then this morning, I got to go to, you guessed it, LAE again, and I got to go read in 5 different classrooms. The kids were fantastic. And it was interesting because I didn't go to the kindergarten. I was in 4th and 5th grade. And I read an absolutely beautiful book that Melissa Burns gave me called The Girl Who Never Made Mistakes. It was poignant, it was on point, and it had a great, great message. I won't spoil the ending for you. The kids were delightful, well-behaved, inquisitive, lots of good questions. It was an absolute joy. The teachers thanked me, but I want to thank them and the children because it was such a joy for me to go see them do that. And then, of course, having them come here and present and the choir, and it was funny because there were several of them that I had just seen a few hours before, and they were like, "We just saw you." I looked a little different. I wasn't in a suit wearing a weird hat at the time. But, and in recognition of Veterans Day, I want to thank all of our veterans out there, but most especially to my father, my cousin, and my brother-in-law. Thank you for your service.
Mrs. Gattuli?
Thank you. I always referred to myself as an old volleyball mom, and I still am an old volleyball mom. So I was able to go to the Lady Griffins quarterfinals, CIF playoffs. They did not prevail, but they did pretty darn well, and I was happy to be back in the stands and cheering again. I am looking forward to our football game on Friday, and I'm glad that I know I'm supposed to wear black. That's something easy to do, so thank you. I was also able to attend the dance show that gets better every time, and I don't know how Mrs. Jones does it, but those girls the girls on the silk, I always hold my breath, and so far they've been fabulous and no accidents. And you could just tell the amount of time and effort the different classes put in for their songs, because they were just so in sync with one another. And I was able to do that with Mr. Fayette and Dr. Pulver. We were all there together. I was signed up to go to the jazz concert at the Gas Lamp, and that was the day right after our torrential rain that we had, and I guess the Gas Lamp flooded a bit. So they had to cancel that, and it's actually taking place tonight. So my thoughts are with them. They always put on a great show, and I'm just, sorry I couldn't make it, but, Mother Nature always wins. At my ROP meeting, we finally approved our goals for the year. And since I've been on that ROP board, which has been like maybe 16 years, 15 years, a long time, when I got there, they actually had goals that were 3 pages long. And I keep saying, we cannot have goals that are 3 pages long, because you will never get past the first page anyway. It's just too much. You don't need to be in the weeds for your goals. First year, 1 page. Very happy. And they really tied it to their WASC review, which is the accreditation from the Western Association of Schools and Colleges. And some of the goals were very specific and very doable. They will be able to accomplish them in a year. So I was really proud of the ROP team for working that way. I was able to do a walkthrough at McAuliffe Middle School, which is always my favorite thing to do. My 2 grandsons are there, and Dr. Weiss-Wright made sure I walked into their classroom so I could appropriately embarrass them. So it was a good day. I watched online the Orange County School Boards Association seminar, and it was put on with the Orange County Department of Health, and they were talking about RSV, which is the virus which is going around now, and you just basically are coughing all the time, and how it is just escalated into, and they were just trying to stress to parents, so I'm repeating it. If your child just starts really coughing a whole bunch and feels kind of like flu-like symptoms, take them to the doctor to find out if this is what they have. Supposedly chalk is like slammed with patients in there with this. And I also want to thank Dr. Pulver for allowing me to speak at Chief Gonchek's retirement last night at the Seal Beach City Council. I have known him for years. He has a daughter the same age as my granddaughter, and I was constantly running into him all the time at McGaw. He is just he has a great sense of humor. He's dedicated to making every society better. He always made sure that our Seal Beach students were safe. Anytime we asked him for anything, he was more than happy to do it. He started doing the tactical practices on the campus, because if anything were to happen with the schools in Seal Beach, that McGaw's obviously it, and he just wanted to make sure that every Seal Beach police officer knew exactly what to do, and he'd work with the staff, and we'd all hope we never have to do it. I just really wish him the best. He is, like you said, probably landed in Colorado. I know we'll find somebody else, but not someone that I have known for years and who have kids the same age as my grandkids. So, and then the last thing I want to say is Happy Thanksgiving to everyone. And we have this, I'm sure what my family thinks, there's an incredibly dorky thing we do every year where I make everyone go around and talk about one thing that they're grateful for. Sometimes they're grateful for the family dog, and I totally get that. But I think it's important for everyone to take a minute, and it's like a gratitude minute. Even when you're down and things don't seem all that fabulous, you have something in your life that is just it's just fabulous, and you need to recognize it and acknowledge it. So happy Thanksgiving to everybody, and think of your one thing to be grateful for. That's it.
Madam President, can I add one more thing?
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you. I got so distracted playing with my hat, I forgot what else I was supposed to say. I just wanted to add, this Saturday I went to see the marching band perform at a competition. It was awesome. It was incredible watching the show, and I want to thank the tour Mr. Martin gave me behind the scenes and all the work that goes into it. They also are going to be performing this Wednesday, tomorrow at 7 o'clock, right here at the high school. It was worth the drive down to Cocoa Canyon, the 45-minute drive there and back. It's definitely worth the drive over to high school. It's a short show. Wear a sweater. But you'll be amazed at what these kids do. I was very impressed, and I can't say enough wonderful things about how much effort and time and energy they put into it, and those kids are incredible. not to mention the staff and the parents that helped put it together. So thank you for letting me soak up some more time.
No problem. I will go ahead and just say that as we know, a week ago today was election day, and I have many people that I would like to thank, and I will do that in privacy, but just those of you who are out there and who have supported me during this period of time, I'm just very, very grateful for that support, and hopefully moving forward in keeping this position, because I really do believe that what is most important is our students, every one of our students and every one of our parents, and that they all have an opportunity to be able to be heard. And so I also, in that light, want to thank the LAE Faculty Forum for inviting me in to speak with them. It was very good to be able to do that, and I look forward to opportunities to do that moving forward. I also want to thank a variety of different reporters, and one of them is Jeanette sitting in this room, for writing really balanced and fair articles, as well as Sean McDonald from our Griffin Gazette. I was very honored to be in the Griffin Gazette. That was the first time. So, and so other things that I had the opportunity to do as a board member, there was an amazing art show over at the high school, and they even had some art on sale, and everything I wanted, I couldn't get because it was being bid out by somebody else. It was just really, really spectacular. And then we had the district office had a great potluck here for Halloween, and it was really nice just to spend some joyful time with them as well. I had the chance to see the Oak Choir perform, and I just love watching. I could never work in middle school. God bless you, Marlis. I could never work in middle school, but I love being able to watch them perform, and it's just such an amazing age. The dance show, Mrs. Coutuli, yes, I was sitting next to Mr. Quartermarsh, and they got on that silk, and he goes, I know. I said, it makes me a nervous wreck every time they're on it, but they are beautiful, and they do a great job of it. The Veterans Day celebration was just fabulous. And then two things that are connected to our school district, but not necessarily directly. There is a gym down in Seal Beach called Beach Fitness. It is my happy place. And they partnered with LAIF to do a fundraiser that's called Grace. And so if you know anything about CrossFit, there are a lot of different workouts that honor veterans as well. And Grace is one of them. And so a bunch of us gathered on a Saturday morning and picked up barbells and benefited LAIF. And that was really a lot of fun and opened new opportunities for them as well. And then in my professional life, I am the executive director of a nonprofit called Pathways to Independence, and we serve young women, and we have residents, about 31 of them, in Huntington Beach. And we just recently connected with an organization called Food Finders, which is based here in Los Alamitos. And so we're able to pick up food that is going to be thrown away if it isn't given to somebody. And our first pickup was at Los Alamitos Elementary School. So I'm like, yes, I know where that is. We can make that happen. So I love that we have those partnerships in our district as well with different organizations and charities within our community. It's just an amazing connection that we have. So that's all for me. And Mr. Forham.
Yes. I've been out and about and went to Rossmore, Hopkinson, and LAE walks with Dr. Pulver. And I usually say this, the Knights, the Huskies, and the Tigers, but I'm saying it again, are all in great hands. I got to see our Weaver Whales get awards by handing certificates out with Dr. Schmidt. And yes, Scott, you are now a trained assistant to me on the Nuts and Bolts tour. And I wanted to thank you, as did my grandson, thank you for taking my place so I could deal with him. On behalf of all the teachers, having been one, I think having Staff Development Day the day after Halloween was a gift to every teacher in our school district. I wanted to shout out Peggy and Megan, two teachers at Rossmore who Mrs. Colty could not be at the assembly Friday. She was put on bed rest, and they stepped right up and gave out the million-word medals together with me. And Scott and I had a great time watching the advanced strings at the high school, period 5. And I met a girl that started playing the violin when she was 5 and 4, right? 4 and 5 years old, 2 girls. And of course, Justin is incredible. I did go to the Hopkinson Vets Assembly, and I joined Mrs. Hill at Oak, and they were wonderful tributes. And then Marlis and I went to how do you say that?
Filipino Appreciation Night.
Okay, that's a better way to say it. And to think about how far our ethnic studies elective kids have come is just amazing. They had a big crowd. We learned an incredible amount about Filipinos, and the food was great. So a shout out to that whole group. Yes, we have all been on Broadway recently again. The choir, McAuliffe, Big Time was the name of their show, and it was truly big time. The dance, Los Al Street Symphony, was truly a symphony, and that could have been anywhere in a professional stage. Oak did their choir, and it was called Oak Goes Big. And yes, they really went big, and we enjoyed Diana and I were there together for that. And the art show you've already mentioned at the high school, what talent. And then I always like to finish with kids, and I want to start with Miss Schwartz. She's the drama teacher at McAuliffe. Yeah, at McAuliffe. And they entered a competition 2 weekends ago, and they came home with several awards, but the one award that caught my eye is they won being the most respectful, well-behaved, and kindness award towards the other competitive schools. And I thought, what more could you ask for? And then a shout out to Bobby Lear at Los Al High. His picture that he created, the drawing, is now going to be on the cover of what I think will be the poster for the Special Olympics athletic events coming up. And that's one of our own. I mean, that was great. And then I want to finish with Carson Fox. It wasn't more than 2 years ago that we all had blue bracelets on celebrating Carson. He was a freshman at that time at the high school, and he went through a terrible bout with leg cancer. And I know Marlis and I can relate greatly to cancer in kids. And he didn't give up. He had to have his leg amputated, and he now plays on the football team. He's a center, I believe. I read. Yeah. And in the LA Times on Saturday, they highlighted this guy, and he said, he came up with a term, fox fortitude. And that's is an example of all of us to admire. And as we go into the Thanksgiving, Meg, we do that same thing. Everybody says something they're grateful for. And right now, I'm grateful for his attitude, because he is a star in my mind, and we're all here for fox fortitude. Thank you.
Mrs. Davidson.
So I'm, excuse me, I'm deviating from the norm and not going back on what I did in the past 2 weeks. With this disclaimer, this in no way is a concession speech, okay? Because tonight is my night to be ahead, okay? So it's every other night. But whether or not this is my last official board meeting is obviously unclear. So I want to use my time with board comments to say thank you to a community that I love. It's a Cliff Notes thank you, because if I really dove deeply into how wonderful everybody is in this community, we'd be eating turkey dinner here. So I won't be doing that. Thank you for decades filled with purpose as a teacher that caused me to get up every morning excited to be with the children I adored and the fellow educators I deeply admired. Thank you for those who mentored, supported, and elected me to the Board of Education in 2018. It's been an incredible honor to serve such an engaged and caring community. The past 4 years have been incredibly challenging for every one of us. However, I've been blessed to work alongside the most dedicated, fiercely devoted, and determined cabinet and board. Every individual sitting at this dais always gave the most and give the most of themselves as they listen, research, question, debate, with the end result of finding the best solutions for our children, our staff, families, and communities. I could go on and on about each and every one of you, talking about just how much I admire and respect you. It's been truly an honor to serve with such a brilliant, innovative, and caring group of consummate professionals. Tina, you are the angel that magically weaves it all together for us, so we thank you. Thank you for being just a true angel, kind person, but an exceptionally talented administrative assistant. Thank you. You hold us together. Andrew, I've known you for at least 20 years. You were a young guy when I first met you, and you're still a young guy, at least relatively speaking. I've witnessed you grow into a truly tremendous leader with a superhero capacity to tackle more than one gigantic issue with courage, compassion, brilliance, and a true servant's heart. You always care about the other person or all of the other people. You never stop. I respect and love you to the moon and back. You are a tremendous man. Thank you to our absolutely amazing administrators, teachers, and staff at every site and facility. One of the greatest blessings of being a board member, and you heard about it tonight, is getting to tour schools and classrooms. I'm astounded by what I see in every single corner of the campuses. Our administrators are personally involved in every aspect of every site. Our teachers are masters who engage students in the most rigorous yet joyful learning experiences. It's so fun to walk around and see the little ones down on the ground helping each other with math equations. That probably would have been a challenge to me in algebra in 10th grade. Specialists and aides work with small groups to meet the needs of every student and to address any learning loss that may have occurred during the pandemic. Office staff keep the whole education machine running. The campus is spotless and beautiful from the kitchen to the garden. And really, you know, I'm in awe of everybody, but I'm mostly in awe of the kitchen because every time we go in there, it's completely spotless. It looks like they just bought a whole new set of, you know, counters and everything else. There's no food anywhere, and they're like 15 seconds from feeding 400 people. So they're really an amazing group of talented workers. You're all miracle workers. It's been my privilege to support, and I continue to support you in every endeavor for our children. Thank you to our students. You are the reason for all of this, and Alexa, you are a shining example of why we're here. As a teacher now, and now as a board member, I learn from you every single day. Thank you for those students who had the courage, meeting after meeting, to come and speak your truth. We heard you. Your voices brought change. Never stop standing up for what you believe. Never stop fighting for those who struggle to find their voice. You are the best of us, and you give us hope. Thank you to my husband, Stan, for always being my strong, wise, and loving partner. I adore you, and I know I'm truly blessed. Thank you to my wonderful, kind son and his beautiful wife, Christina. You teach me every day about the job of parenting in the 21st century. I learned so much from you, and I wish I could start over because I've learned what a true loving set of parents are. You are amazing. You and my precious grandkids are my escape and my joy. Thank you to my sister Marilyn for always being a loving warrior at my side. Thank you, big time Patty, for being the best campaign manager and dear friend. You're a force. But all of the people sitting here in this front row, you are in my heart. You managed the numbers, you juggled the odds, you held meet and greets, you walked, and I can never thank you enough, and the people that you are here representing. You are everything to me, and I would have been nothing. I would have been painting little posters in the garage saying, this is really hard. So thank you, thank you. Thank you to my friends, Some of you have been so dear to me for decades, and others are new friends I've gotten to know through the challenges of the last few years. You are all remarkable, selfless, passionate individuals who make this world a better place. I cannot imagine how great this world would be without every one of you whose dedication and love for our community and nation inspire me every day. Finally, I'm not going to lie, I sincerely hope I'm sitting here at the next meeting. However, for 25 years, I taught the Constitution. My students and I dove deeply into the foundations of a true democracy. Elections are what keep democracy strong and alive. This seat does not belong to me. It belongs to our community. It is my greatest honor to sit here and to serve you. If this community chooses to have Mr. Edwards in this seat, I respect that. Mr. Edwards, I think you will find that this cabinet and board and district seek only what is best for our students, staff, and schools. It can be a challenging, complex balancing act that requires compromise from everyone, but this working body functions to find the best opportunities for every child, every child. I'm especially proud of the work we are doing for mental health, for equity, diversity, and inclusion, and for campus safety. If I do remain on this board, those will be my focus. Mr. Edwards, if you are the person sitting here, I pray you too will see their value. Stan and I were in Virginia with our kids this weekend. From time to time, my little granddaughter Hannah would look at me, she's 3 years old, look at me and go like this and give me a big heart. So now I'm making that heart because I truly love this community. I love every one of you, and I thank you for the last 35 years, but our work is not done, so thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
We will now go into our public comment part of our agenda, and I have 2 cards. Cards are to be filled out before the start of the meeting, so thank you for getting those cards up here. The board welcomes input from the public. This is an opportunity for community members to provide public comment to the board on agenda items or items not listed on the agenda. Persons wishing to address the board should complete a speaker request card prior to the start of the meeting. Each speaker is limited to a maximum of 30 minutes, and public comment is limited to a total of 30 minutes. Comment cards can be submitted to the district office anytime after 9 a.m. on the day of a board meeting and will be accepted up to the start of the board meeting at 6 p.m. A speaker may not relinquish his or her time to another. When addressing the board, speakers are requested to address the board from the podium, state their name, and adhere to time limits. The board may not take any action or discuss any items not appearing on the posted agenda and cannot always immediately respond to public comments. Speakers are cautioned that under California law, no person is immune from liability for making intentionally false or defamatory comments regarding any person simply because those comments are made at a public meeting. I have 2 cards, and I'll start with Mr. Leland J.
All right, good evening, board. Thank you. My name is Leland J., district parent. I just wanted to come here to acknowledge Marlis and Diana for running for school board again. All right, so by now everyone remembers the infamous town hall meeting at the church in Long Beach where a panelist told the audience a bunch of bad stuff about our board. It was in the Orange County Register. Fair to say that the hostility against our board significantly ramped up after that town hall, but what many people may not know is that Diana Hill went to that town hall to face the panel herself and listen to what they were going to say about her, even though she probably knew it wasn't going to be very nice. That took some courage. Now, we're a district of, over 9,000 kids. There's no way we're all going to agree on everything, but Diana Hill, don't listen to anyone who says that you don't have courage or the backbone to stand up for our district. Those of us paying attention know that you do. And Marlis, okay, fairly common knowledge that you had to have police presence outside your home for 4 weeks after law enforcement determined there were credible threats made to you and your family. No one would blame you if you didn't run again, but you did, for us, for our kids and all who believe in public education. Now, many in this community love Marlis Davison. Why? From her former students, some who have gone to Princeton, Harvard, Berkeley, and have written so eloquently about the significance and impact that she's made in their lives as their teacher, to current and former teachers who love and support her, to former school board members, major pillars of our community, some who are even here tonight, to parents like myself, current parents who recognize the commitment and dedication she has shown to our kids. For you to run again, for us, despite knowing the high likelihood of a very negative partisan campaign against you, just deepens the love and gratitude that many of us have for you and for Stan. And that love endures and will endure no matter what happens in this election. And to the board, to the 5 of you, you know what word comes to my mind? Heroic. Despite the chaos and turbulence around you, you took all of the incoming hits for 2 years for us. You kept our district steady. When the pandemic first hit and Dr. Pulver and Mrs. Reed said, okay, you've got a choice for your kids. You can go in person or distance learning, but you have to commit to one for the entire year. And I thought, no, what are you doing? You're going to separate our kids from their friends. You're going to totally divide this community. In hindsight, I think you guys saved this community. Could you even imagine, parents, if we were all in the same boat that year, either all in person or distance learning, given the chaos we've seen? Scott, I don't think anyone would have blamed you if you had quit, given what you and your family went through, but you didn't quit. There is immense gratitude to the 5 of you and everyone here at the district office for keeping it together for us, for all of the hard work behind the scenes, for the countless hours you all put in that we will never know about.
Thank you, Mr. J. I can't say that. Carrie Ravello used to be quite often in our boardroom.
No masks today. Sorry. Good teachers put everything in a sleeve, you know, keeps it clean. I know you can appreciate that, Dr. Pulver. Hello, my name is Carrie Ravello, and I teach at McAuliffe Middle School. I'm here tonight to support my friend, Marlis, with the election. I've known Marlis for 26 years. Our relationship has many roles, including colleague, mentor, friend, and my child's teacher. Marlis was always the favorite teacher to have at McAuliffe. My son was lucky enough to be in her class, and I begged her not to retire so that she could have my youngest kids. Not only was Marlis the master of her craft in the classroom, but she also shared her expertise with her colleagues too. Any teacher that attended one of Marlis's depth and complexity icon trainings left the session a better teacher. Knowing curriculum and classroom strategy is key knowledge to bring to the boardroom. The lifelong friendship that I've had with Marlis means the world to me. The first time I met Marlis, she had just lost her older daughter, Stephanie, to cancer. It was my honor and pleasure to help support her through the hard times. A handful of years later, Marlis would be the arms that I ran to when my niece was killed by a drunk driver. Over the last year and a half, I've been battling breast cancer. I've had 5 surgeries, including a bilateral mastectomy. When I was in the hospital for 6 days with no visitors because the COVID protocols, Marlis was there for me with constant prayer and constant support. Anyone that knows Marlis will tell you that she truly has a heart of gold. I think having a board member with a good character is imperative. My son served as student representative to the Board of Education in 2020. During that time, I attended most of the meetings and continued to watch via Zoom when the pandemic happened. I sat in the boardroom or in my living room watching this board take verbal beating after verbal beating. Return to school, don't return to school. Wear the mask, don't wear the mask. Mandatory vaccinations, no mandatory vaccinations. It's difficult to watch people that you love and respect go through such insanity. To this day, I have no idea how the board maintained such a calm demeanor. The morning after the quiet slip of tongue by Marlis, I called my mother. I said, "Mom, of all my friends, which one walks through life the most like Jesus?" Without hesitation, she replied, "Marlis." In closing, no matter what the results of this election are, there is no doubt in my mind that the Los Alamitos Unified School District is better for having you on the board, and hopefully we'll be lucky enough to have you again. Marlis Davidson, I have a tremendous amount of respect and gratitude for wonderful you, and tonight my new favorite number is 10.
Thank you very much. Now we will move into the business that the board
Madam
does.
President, a request was made. Could we take a 3 or 5 minute break? Recess?
Certainly. We will recess for 5 minutes. Thank you very much, Dr. Pulver. We will now do the business of the board. And so we have consent items. I have 10A through 10U with no polls. Consent items are items that are of regular nature for the board, and so we usually take them in one motion. May I get a motion?
Second.
I've got a first and a second. I don't need to do roll call. So all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Passes 5-0. We are on to action items. So this is the approval to hold our annual organization meeting on December 13th. And this is part of the education code, and it requires the governing board of each school district and community college district to hold an annual organization meeting within a prescribed 15-day period. And for 2022, this 15-day period is from December 9th, 2022 through December 23rd, 2022. And this will decide the board will decide upon the 2023 board officers and assignments. And I'm grateful that we didn't push it to the 23rd. Thank you. Dr. Pulver, would you like to speak to this?
Just briefly, this is the annual organizational meeting of the board. This is when the elected board members from their current term will be sworn in for their new 4-year term. You'll notice that the Ed Code requires 15 days and they can't start till December 9th because the state of California has to certify all elections or each of their representatives by December 8th. And so that's when, once the elections are certified after December 8th across the state, school boards can host their organizational meeting.
Thank you very much, Dr. Pulver. Do I have a motion? A second? Second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Passes 5-0. Next item is the approval of supplemental materials. And Mrs. Reed.
Thank you so much, President Hill. Tonight, we're bringing forward Refugee by Alan Gratz for board action. This novel has been on public display in education services for the past 30 days. The novel is historical fiction, and it's about 3 children from 3 different geographical locations who face unimaginable danger, but do so with courage, survival, the quest for home, and the hope for tomorrow.
Wonderful. Do we have a book report? We have a book report. Okay, so I'll get a motion. A second? And book report, please.
Okay, book report. This is this is a book that is for 5th graders, I believe. And it has the 3 children from 3 historically different times and from 3 geographic different places. We have a Jewish family, and I think it's from Poland. We have a Muslim family who is not in the majority of the Muslim, because there's 2 sectors, and they're trying to leave. And then we have a Cuban girl who's leaving. So I found it because of the fact you have the 3 differently historical times going on, and yet when you are a refugee, there are some universal thoughts and feelings and stresses and uncertainties that are universal. And what I also liked about it is that, particularly I was reading like with the Cuban girl, is that they brought a grandfather with them who really didn't want to go, but his option was to stay in Cuba by himself. And so that happens when, as a family, if a family is going to immigrate to another country, you bring the entire family, but the entire family isn't necessarily happy about it. And I just thought it was a really well-written, multi-layered, talking about depth and complexity that they'll be able to go into. And I just think it could really raise people's empathy on anyone who's ever moved anywhere. So I'm going to vote yes.
You know, and I'm excited too because my grandson will be in the class of the teacher who suggested the book. So we carried it here, and thank you, Andrea, for moving it forward. And I promised her I would report to her after the board meeting. Okay.
Excellent. Thank you. Well, we've had discussion. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? 0. We are now looking at the adoption of the Los Alamitos Unified School District Resolution 2022 to 2023, impending request for proposal for pre-construction and leaseback services for the new gymnasium project at Los Alamitos High School. And Mrs. Galicia.
Thank you, Madam President. The approval of this resolution is the first step of utilizing the lease back delivery method that we anticipate using for the construction of the second gym. The resolution contains the procedures and guidelines for evaluating the qualifications of the prospective lease back contractor. So we need that approved. Thank you.
Thank you. May I have a motion? A second? Discussion? I would just like to say that I was on the board when we did our first lease back project, and this process has worked extremely well for our district, and I'm very proud of that. So thank you very much for bringing this forward. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Mrs. Hill, it's a roll call.
Roll call. Yes, it is.
Mr. Fayette. Aye. Ms. Cattouli.
Aye.
Mrs. Hill.
Aye.
Mr. Forehand. Ms. Davidson.
Aye.
Tina just wanted a little airtime. The next one is the approval of a memorandum of understanding with the Orange County Department of Education for teacher induction program. And Dr. Frazier.
Thank you, Madam President. Yes, this is our agreement for the MOU with the Orange County Department of Ed for the induction program, which was formerly BITSA. So this is just an opportunity for our teachers to really get acquainted with the profession while they're provided with support from our teachers of our own and also the county.
Wonderful. Thank you. Do I have a motion? So moved. Second. Moved and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Passes 5-0. The next is the approval of warrants, and warrants are the checkbook of the district, and we will be approving $2.5 million plus a little change of warrants for this period of time. We have the opportunity to all look at them and ask any questions that we have about any warrants, and so I would look for a motion. And a second? Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Passes 5-0. We will now look at the acceptance of donations. And once again, we have an extremely generous community that gives so much for our several donations I see from the LaSalle Education Foundation. I'd imagine those are for well spaces, and we're very grateful to our whole community. Thank you. Year to date is $450,000 worth of donations. So I need a motion. Second. Any other discussion? Thank you. Thank you. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Passes 5-0. We are now going to be coming up to our classified personnel report and certificated personnel report. Dr. Frazier.
Thank you, Madam President. Just bringing forward both the classified and certificated personnel reports as presented.
Thank you very much. Do I have a motion? Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Passes 5-0. And Dr. Pulver, is there any reason for us to need to go back into closed session?
No.
Thank you very much. Well, with that, I will close, and I will give my Thanksgiving thoughts to all of those out there. It has always been my favorite holiday because it really is just about the opportunity to be grateful for what we have and to be together and be with family and go Cowboys. So thank you very much and have a wonderful and a safe Thanksgiving, and we will see you back in December. I know, but I'm more.
Joe, you look like Run DMC.